Are growing, but so are the number of vacant houses.
Our I-team found they are not only eyesores, they also are a danger to neighbors and first responders.
News Center 7's Jim Oddie is here showing us why it's so dangerous and what's taking so long to fix this problem, Jim.
Well, at this point, we found even though the recession is over, the housing crisis for the most part has ended, we're still facing a flood of empty houses. They're both vacant and dangerous. It's left a lot of people frustrated with the system and now pushing to have more of them cleaned up or torn down. A.J. Stokes is renovating a two-family house in West Dayton that he bought recently, hoping it's a good investment. But take a look at what's lurking next door, a hulking mess of a house that's been vacant and falling apart for years, attracting squatters and scrappers.
One thing they will find is danger. And if they want to find it, they can be my guest. I don't want no parts of that.
A.J. says this place is also a fire hazard, and like a lot of other neighbors, he's frustrated that the city hasn't torn it down.
I would ask them to please take care of the situation, and if you can't do it, let us take care of it.
Dayton has taken down 2,000 structures since 2009 and say another 6,500 should be torn down. But the problem is there's not enough money to do it all. Asbestos remediation adds to the cost.
So many of the structures will wait until we get the funding to tear them down.
The city only has enough money to take down a total of 250 buildings this year and next year. Tops on the list are ones like this, damaged by fire or at risk of falling into the street. Dayton's not the only city struggling to find some way to take care of these dangerous and vacant houses. Our I-team investigation has found other communities also looking for the money to tear these down.
We're looking at a number of 27 that have been identified as structurally unsound and a threat to health and safety.
Springfield would like to do more, but the problem is there's no long-term funding source in the federal or state pipelines. Meanwhile, the vacant properties continue to fall apart from neglect. They're dangerous, not only for neighbors, but also for first responders.
Firefighters get hurt. It's costing the city a lot of money in order to put those services out there.
Trotwood is another city troubled by vacant homes, with plans to tear down 30 this year. But we've learned Trotwood is trying to attack this issue in a new way. They're fixing up 10 properties this summer. It's financially possible only because the houses are smaller and newer.
We would rather renovate houses and keep a neighborhood intact as opposed to tearing houses down.
And for people like AJ, cities urge them to stay in touch with housing inspectors to alert them if the property's not secure. But otherwise, there's really nothing neighbors can do to have the vacant house next door torn down any sooner. Some houses could cost $17,000 or more for demolition, depending on how big it is. It's up to Congress of the state to decide if they'll be giving cities any more money to tear old houses down. As it stands now, the current funding runs out next year. Look for more in-depth coverage coming.
Hello, YouTube, and good evening. They had this story about the vacant houses in Dayton and the surrounding communities on my local news this evening at 5:30. I'm just going to offer a little bit of commentary. That's my cat you just heard right there. First off, I'd like to say the number of vacant houses that they're reporting, 6,500 in the city limits of Dayton, that number is much higher than that, people. Just in my general area, I've seen probably, within 3 or 4 streets of me, I've seen at least probably 10 to 15 houses that are vacant that are not even secured. So I do not believe those are being factored into their number of 6,500 homes that are just sitting empty, that are not secured at all. And as far as, this funding source, the state, just granted, Montgomery County $3 or $4 million for the fairgrounds redevelopment boondoggle, and the city of Dayton is scrambling to find $10 million laying around somewhere for infrastructure improvements. So when they keep telling us that there's no funding available for us, tell them stop spending the money on other crap that's stupid and start spending the money where it's meant to be spent at, instead of on, you know, public development, instead of development on boondoggles. It should be private development. But as I said over and over again, you know, Dayton, as well as much of the, industrial belt in states like Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Illinois, is facing a problem of there's just, the job market is just absolutely horrendous. We have an older population of baby boomers, which comprise well over half of the local population in much of this part of the country, and that generation is dying off quickly, and there's just no wealth, in the city limits, and heck, even in the suburbs. That problem's going to continue to get worse, people. But anyway, I just don't see this problem getting any better, and, we just have to demand that they stop spending money on stupid crap and focus on, our roads and getting these dangerous structures tore down from our community. There is a few communities that they're quicker to tear them down and others in some of the historic areas and areas like Old North Dayton, but most of the city, goes to the back of the line when it comes to tearing down these structures. That's it for this one.